Yeah, well, let's take a look at a little sales idea for you. This is one of those ideas where you just have to sort of just take a look at your sales methodology or your business idea or your strategy and how you sell, and maybe make a little tweak to it to update it for the current environment that we find ourselves in. And I'm going to call this one the garden centre trick, or the garden centre sales model. I'll tell you what I mean by this one. You might like this one. The garden centre sales model, which I think you'll like this one. Not a lot, as I used to say, but I think you'll like this one. Now, yesterday, Shelley and I decided we were going to get some plants. And we've been on lockdown for a long time here, but the garden centres have been opening up recently, and nurseries and things. So we wanted to get some roses and some plants for the herbaceous border. And I said to Shelley, I'll come along with you. We'll have a bit of an outing. Now, she was very worried about it because, we've been locked down now for practically 3 months, and therefore, we've had most of our shopping collected from Tesco's or whatever it is. So to go to a big shopping centre with lots of other people was quite worrying for the two of us. Anyway, we arrived at this garden centre in Cheltenham, and they had got it sorted. They're a member of, I think, the Garden Centre Association or something. And obviously this Garden Centre Association had given them advice upon how they should operate with social distancing. And it was brilliantly clever, because we parked the car, walked up to the area where you enter the garden centre, and there was a queue, a bit like the supermarkets have, but obviously with taped areas of 2 metres. We thought, we're going to have to wait here for hours. But we waited patiently as we started to go in. And obviously people were coming out of the exit. So one person was coming out, one person was going in. And we eventually got in there, got our trolley, which was well cleaned, etc. And they had a one-way system around a garden centre, which was quite a clever idea, really. Supermarkets, you can understand that because it's aisled, isn't it? But garden centres is pretty random. But they put these stickers on the floor, they did some painting on the floor, where you had to literally wheel your trolley, if you like, around this garden centre, around all the little nooks and crannies, all the way to the end. And you couldn't go any further than the person ahead of you. Obviously, they set the pace. So you had to wait a lot of the time and wait and relax. But it was safe, and it was a sunny day. We were outside, so it was pretty cool. Now, what happened, as you can appreciate, is that we were taken to every part of the garden centre that we would never normally go for. We were looking for roses. So normally we'd have gone straight to the rose section. But we had to go through all these different areas that we didn't really want to go to. A bit like IKEA, isn't it? And we ended up buying all sorts of plants that we would not have bought before. And we eventually got to the rose section and picked a couple of lovely roses. But as we kind of wound through, we were stopping. We had more time to think about things that we'd never thought about before. We had more time to stop and look at these things. Well, actually, that might be quite nice over by this shed. Or we could put that outside the front, because it made us think about other products that they were selling. Eventually we got to the till, paid our money. Well, we spent about 150 quid in the end, when we were only looking to spend about £25-30 on a couple of roses. So where's the moral behind that story? Well, what I'm saying to you as a mortgage advisor is think about the garden centre here and how you could organise it. And here's some ideas for you. Typically with a sales process, you have 2 or 3 meetings, don't you? You have an explore meeting, where you talk about the needs and you do a bit of fact finding maybe. You then have a meeting where you present the options to the customer, and they say yes or no, and they sign the forms, and then you tend to sort of submit the paperwork. It tends to be 2 meetings, which can last for an hour or so each. Sometimes an hour and a half or more. Sometimes we split it up into a couple of meetings if we're very lucky. Now here's the thought for you. Don't do it like that. Change things. First of all, go to the online model where you're using video to talk to the customer. This won't work face to face, but certainly work with video meetings. Now, video meetings require less of a duration, of course, but longer period of time. So what I'm suggesting you think about doing is you have a number of small, short 20-minute meetings covering specific areas of your process. So you might, for example, have a meeting where you're just touching base, talking about the disclosure and fees and things, and just giving a strategic view. The next meeting, you talk about some hard facts around their situation. Then the next one, you're looking at soft facts. Then maybe you're looking at protection needs. And then you're looking at mortgage needs. And eventually, you'll get into the presentation option itself. But each meeting is lasting 15 to 20 minutes maximum. That way, you see, you get the customer's attention, just like you did in the garden centre. One that's based around protection, for example, looking at the issues about dying and being ill and stuff like that. You've got their attention, and maybe you might get some more sales as a result of that one. I think that's really quite a clever idea. You don't have to do great big meetings, you see. In fact, you shouldn't. And when it's online video, you can do a meeting one day and the next evening do another one, do it for 20 minutes. People are much more inclined to do that. If they're at home anyway, there's no big deal. Their attention span is much easier for you to take in. People can get all the information more, so you actually get things across better as well by doing that. So it makes a lot of sense. And I just think this is a great way of looking at the future for you. The garden centre sales model, I'm pretty good. We spent on flowers and plants and things. And very, very good at the end. And they did all the cross-selling at the end, because at the end you had all the bags of peat and stuff that you could add on to it as well. So they did very, very well, that garden centre. Clever people, enjoyed that one. So I hope that's been useful for you.